Alright, we've got a different voice in the com box. You have me for this final stint. So I've taken off the race suit, chucked that in the wash, and chucked my normal clothes on, ran into the com box, and yeah, I've gone live, and it'll be all up to me for this for the end of this one. But it's always good to have another helping hand in the com box. It was Brian a couple of weeks back, but backing up again, we've got Adam. How you going, good friend?
Well, the time zones are working against me quite heavily. As of midnight UK time, I wasn't expecting to be in this race in any capacity. 5:30 a.m. and here I am having just done a stint and now joining you for the commentary on this one. All to play for then in the final stint of this race. 58 racing laps to come. And of course, really, in a sense, those two first stints are all billed to this. This is where it all counts.
Yeah, certainly. This is the 300-point round. So whoever wins this stint will come off with 300 points. But yeah, the initial first two stints, we actually had a couple of bonus points. Just to keep everyone interested and stuff like that. So. Same thing as always, as the last stint we did, we're going to be doing a safety car restart behind Meat and Cheese. So they're currently in a party chat, getting everything sorted, but yeah, this is the long stint, the Big Bertha, the big girl. It's all to play for now.
Big Bertha, that was the name of a Vauxhall Super Saloon here in the UK in the 1970s. That's immediately what my brain goes to there. But Speedy Tyres, just following the GTR safety car. It is a GTR at the head of the queue then. And it's going to be a compelling stint this. We've got a lot of our finest drivers in there. I'm particularly interested in what that man, It's Racing, will do in this. It's something of a novelty to see him in the 95 this year.
Yeah, he's hang up the boots and the helmet to just focus on some admin work back behind the scenes. But unfortunately, Brandosa had some family emergencies and he had to duck up to Queensland. So we've thought, It's Racing. How about you feel about jumping in the car? Because our other reserve, Nightwalker, actually is in WRT now, so they're a main series team. So they've signed Nightwalker and Oz Soul Reaper, so it's really good to see them. But yeah, he's back in the reins and it'll be good to see what he does in his last stint, obviously in the 95.
Yeah, I'll take the opportunity just while we're still on the formation lap. Xylon, if you're listening, very sorry about the last corner, my friend. I tried one bit of actual racing during my stint with my pedals trying to run away from me. And of course, the one bit of racing I actually tried to do, I got horribly wrong. But I managed to survive the stint just about. It's no longer about survival for any of these teams and drivers, though. They are single file. The safety car is rapidly withdrawing itself to the pit lane. And here we go, DJ. Your turn to call the start of this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one. We've got Speedy Tyres leading the field. And he's gone early. And we've got Matt right behind him. Looks like he might have been a bit of a noddy on the start there. He's got about 0.8 of a gap here to Speedy, but he's in that slipstream there. You don't want to let Speedy get away, because obviously we saw in the first stint he's reasonably quick, but another man who's quick as well is Matt. But on the tail of that, you've got Spud, Diswood, and It's Racing, and I can tell you right now, Diswood is going to be on the charge.
Yeah, I tell you what, this was disconcerting. You see there, looks like everyone's wall riding through that second corner. That's properly disconcerting for me, given I'm on a completely different side of the world. It looked like everyone was making sweet you-know-what to the Armco through turn 2 throughout my stint. It was not a comfortable experience. Everyone running right to the edge there on the green painted surface, something I didn't have the guts to do at any point. There's Cyric, who's taken over the car that I was driving previously. He's behind Ridwan then in 9th place for now. Some side-by-side action further back there as Ratty McForehead going at it with Lurox there briefly. Of course, I'm sure it was referenced in the previous broadcasts as we see there a move for 10th place from Ratty. And I'm sure it was referenced in the previous broadcast, but coming here into turn 2, they are to go single file. Gentleman's agreement, no overtaking into this corner. Think turn 8 at Bathurst or the hairpin at Macau. We want them single file through there. Looks as though this has been a rather poor lap for this Honda.
Yeah, also Reaper seems to be taking that that tight line through turn 2, so he's losing a lot of time through there. As you can see, probably about a minute 1 was his last lap where everyone else... Oh, it's racing here. He's got engine damage, so that will be a safety car, which it is here. So it looks like possibly a turn 3 incident maybe, or he's hit the wall somewhere. So very unfortunate there for the 95. But you know, 2 laps in of this 58 lap race, it can really go any which way.
Yeah, that hasn't taken long, has it, for the wall to bite somebody, and it's Racing who will end up shuffled down to the back of the order. That promotes basically everyone outside of the top 5 up a position. Meat and Cheese Pie, our safety car driver, doing his duties there at the sharp end in the wide-body GTR road car. An entirely different beast from the GTR that follows him in the hands of Speedy Tyres. The High Speed Ring 500 is what you're watching here with us at the moment. And the High Speed Ring, it's interesting. It's a fairly simple layout on paper, and particularly in these Group 2 cars, a lot of it is, if not flat, very close to it, but there's still a huge degree of challenge, I'd suggest, just in terms of carrying speed. Obviously, turn 2, the S's as well, particularly with that high RPM turbo, DJ. This certainly isn't easy, especially as the tyres start to get away from you.
Yeah, I think one thing I really notice is as soon as that right rear tyre starts to wear, obviously it is the loaded tyre. It comes obviously the MR car. I don't know what the GTR is like, but you probably notice it when the rear tyre starts to wear. The car becomes really slippery through turn 2 there. So you've got to be either 100% or 0%, and kind of really nothing in between. So yeah, it's definitely a confidence game for some of these drivers. Obviously, we've got drivers who haven't really done much running around High Speed Ring, I think, from experience, which would be obviously such as Devlin, and then we've got Ozsol Reaper here, and especially with WRT being a new team in the series as well, they don't have really much experience at all with these GR2 cars.
Yeah, no, the only GR2 car I had in this game prior to about 3-4 hours ago was the CLK LM, which, as it turned out, wasn't a worthy substitute for the NSX, no matter how I pleaded. So I had to hop into a car new, and interesting you mentioned there about that right rear tyre. I was at the Saxon Ring last weekend with ADAC GT Masters, which is also a corner with a circuit with a lot of left-hand corners, and we had the exact same issue, particularly on the Audis, the Lamborghinis, the Porsches, the mid and rear-engined cars. That rear right tyre was wearing very quickly, and we had quite a few punctures as a result of that. Safety car is distancing itself from the pack, and Speedy Tyres is going to be leading them off once again. His second start. Does he go early again? Keep an eye on that speedometer there. He's going to stab the throttle any moment, you'd suspect. He's waited a little bit longer than he did last time out. Now he goes, and once again, Matt's been caught a little bit napping there. Dis Wood side by side with Spud, the two perennial rivals of the Trackstars Touring Cars Championship, side by side. And here comes the pink and purple Honda NSX, the car that set the fastest lap, or second fastest lap yesterday in qualifying, but of course wall riding was noted on the lap. That sent them to the back of the order. They're back up to third place for now, though, running through the second corner now, and it is still Speedy Tyres out ahead. Matt just was a bit slow to the throttle there.
Yeah, it's very hard with these cars, obviously, being the MR compared to the FR and the turbos and stuff, with the turbo lag and stuff like that, but as long as you're kind of really in the slipstream, that's what you essentially ideally want to, where you want to be. But it's currently 1 and 2 at the moment in the stint 1 and 2, so Speedy Tyres has won first and Captain Risky won second. Obviously I came second in the last two, so Diswood is definitely on the charge here, because he's actually before we came into this event, he was roughly about 6 or 8 points behind me in the championship. So it's going to be a very interesting one. But with those those stick points as well, that's obviously definitely shaken up the chat here. Matt almost goes for a move there on Speedy.
Oh.
He had the.
I think the race. Oh, and it would look like Spud was trying to do the same there as well. I think the racer's instinct kicks in, doesn't it? Heading towards that turn 2, you go, oh, there's a move coming on here, and then I go, oh wait, hold on. No, the gentleman's agreement. Certainly, on a sim at Macau, I tend to throw it up the inside at that hairpin, even though in real life it's covered by yellow flags. I think the same thing applied there to Mint Matt, who has a very close watching brief of Speedy tyres now coming out of this last corner. He is surely going to have the slipstream. Can he get the car alongside? Can he get a nose ahead before that 100-meter board where they have to go single file?
Yeah, he's made the move here into turn 1, which is exactly what he needs to do, because he'll have the momentum here coming into turn 2. So obviously the gentleman's agreement, Speedy won't be able to get up enough there, but one thing you don't want to do from history is give Matt clean air. That's definitely what I noticed last year. We've got this battle pack here of 4, but as you can see that Matt's already gapped him by 0.4. Cool Spud here going for an outside move there on Diswood, which I actually did as well in my last stint in it. As much as it was, it felt scary, but it actually felt really nice. So.
Yeah, interesting. Certainly those 4 cars there in a queue heading into turn 2. I was so glad I didn't have to do that at any point during my stint. I did not want to be jammed up on someone's rear wing around that corner. Devlin there dropping a couple of positions. I think he might have just got a bit squirrely coming out of the 4th corner on the lap, the second pass of the S's. He's dropped himself down to 8th place. The Belgian racer, who we're familiar with in years gone by in series such as the Trackstars Endurance Series, looks like he's going for Ridwan now as they head towards turn 2, side by side. Also further back now, Devlin has to back out, and he does so there. We can see that he's read the briefing. Good lad. And Lurox following him. Of course, Lurox 22 and the Nissan GTR. That's a long-standing partnership of driver and manufacturer. And not quite able to get it done on that occasion. Into the pits there, we have Sirik and also Jerem as well. So 2 of the Hondas in.
Yeah, it looks like Sirik might be chucking in some fuel here as well as repairing the damage. So that's another thing we have to play. So you're not going to make the end on 60 litres, so they will have to top up, but it's whether or not they fill it or brim it. So you can see he has gone a lap down, but he is obviously going through the pit lane. But this is what we want to watch out for. So ideally he should stay low here, which is very good. Sirik's got a very good brain on him, so he'll stay low, let these pack of cars go past, and which is very good racecraft there from him. Most respect to Sirik there. He's a very, very knowledgeable guy, very smart. So awesome work there from coming out of the pits, because that can be very scary when you're coming up to a pack as well. Granted, where the racing line goes, Ridwan getting really sketchy. He's getting really sketchy, but he's got front aero damage there too, so that's definitely not what he wants, considering he had to come from the back of the field.
Yeah, a little tap there as well. I think he gained some suspension damage potentially there coming out of turn 4. Ridwan with some issues then. Let's see if he hits or whether he tries to brave it out in the hope of a safety car. I tried that and it didn't work. He's giving it a go though. And we are still very much at the stage of the race where a great many cars are all together. Just look at that front pack on your mini-map. There are a lot of cars in close proximity at the moment. You'd expect that an incident could be forthcoming. No disrespect to any of the drivers, so for now I'd suggest that gamble from Ridwan could be worthwhile.
Yeah, and looks like Spud's got damage here too, so he must have picked it up through turn 2, because my guess is that's where the front right damage and front aero damage comes from. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a long game here, whether or not he plays out the safety car and see how it goes, or he just pits for damage and brims up the tank and chucks a new set of tyres on. But that's also what you got to think about as well, changing tyres and stuff like that, as well as your damage compared to how many laps are left. So that's definitely going to be a bit of an interesting one, come probably like maybe 30 odd, 30, 35.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be intriguing to see how all of this plays out. There is our safety car primed and ready to go should it be needed. There is our race leader, Mint Matt, heading the way at this stage. So as soon as he got by, it seems he has got no intention of letting the lead go. It's Racing, meanwhile, in the sister It's Racing esports car, back up to 7th place. After that early visit to the pits with the engine damage, just behind Devlin, who's moved back up to 6th position as well. This pack here in the second half of the top 10, they seem to be switching positions as if it's Talladega in the final 10 laps.
Yeah, it's definitely got some good racing going on here. There's a lot of racecraft going on, giving people room, and people reading briefings, which makes our life easy. It's Racing goes for an outside move there. Oh, Devlin, that's engine, and that'll be a safety car. That's definitely going to be a safety car. He gets, it looks like, oh, there's a massive mess here that's going on. What has happened here? That's...
A lot going on there at once. I think potentially maybe It's Racing was focused on his admin duties there for a moment, making sure the safety car was called. There's a big pile up, a lot of teams and drivers having to scramble after that one. We see Gabans into the pits in the 13 car. It's Racing with his second visit to the pit lane. I tell you what, Honda have clearly brought some spare engine parts along for this one, haven't they? Cyric also in safety car is out. Matt continues to lead.
Yeah, Matt's doing a pretty solid job there. From what I saw, he had about a 1.8 second lead, so it's definitely going to shake things up a bit. It's just wondering what Spud will do if he goes in the pits, and he does. He goes down wide. Oh, Speedy and Diswood as well. So Matt stays out. That might be a gift or a blessing here for Matt. Whether or not the other drivers do fill up fuel or how he plays it, but Matt's got a very smart head on him, so we'll definitely wait and see what happens. But Lurox just jumped up into turn 2 in that pit lane sequence.
I wonder if Matt, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you know a lot more about this than I do, but just wonder if Matt, with a combination of fuel saving and his Gran Turismo Jedi status, is maybe trying to pull this off on one stop.
I won't rule that out at all. I think Matt will do Matt things, and I think that's just what we go with, I guess. But he's definitely faster than me. He's about 4 tenths faster than me per lap. So he's doing about 57.3s. I was doing 57.8. So he's pulling the same about tyre wear and stuff like that. But yeah, he's definitely going to do Matt things, and it'll be good to see what happens there. But yeah.
The big carry.
As well. Yeah, essentially, yeah, the big carry. But
Man's doing the bare minimum here.
I mean, I did do an 18 and a 38 lap, so it's definitely going to be interesting. As
you did the first stint.
Yeah, I did first and second stint. So he's jumped in the pits here. So maybe he might be running that extra lap there on the other drivers.
That is interesting. Of course, every lap that you stay out there is a lap where you a lap of extra fuel, as it were, for your second stint out there. How much fuel is he putting in? Does that say 40 litres?
He currently has 40 litres, and he's exiting with 70, so he's got 70 litres of fuel here. But he comes out just behind Slappers in 8, so Cyric should get his
It's not a bad deal.
Yeah, so, and his sister car in It's Racing comes out in 10th. With Spud, looks like he's done a double stop here. I'm not too sure what that's about, but maybe he got damage or something. But we'll wait and see how that plays out. But for the moment, we've got Ozsol Reaper in first place behind the safety car.
The man we saw cascade down to the bottom of the order in the early stages now finds himself at the sharp end to go back around to Spud there. I just wonder if he's done what I know I used to do a lot on controller, which is spam the X button and then realise I haven't fixed my damage. I think Spud is a smarter man than me, but I'm not ruling it out because it is quite easy to do.
I have done that at Seaside in the first round. I accidentally spammed the button to change gear, and I ended up not changing tyres when I wanted to, and I'm like, this is not good. And then the safety car came out and definitely worked for me. But yeah, it's definitely possible that happened. But yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Who's behind him? We've got Ridwan behind him, and then Cyric catching up. So they should go green next time by, so they'll let Cyric catch back up, because we like to let drivers catch up to give them the best shot at the best chance they do. But on the topic of meat and cheese pie, that's actually what I'm eating currently for lunch, is a meat and cheese pie.
Is that beef?
Yes, it is beef, meat and cheese and bacon.
That sounds solid, I can't lie to you. I've got steak pie in the fridge. That might be my breakfast after I eventually give up on sleeping. But there you go, so Soul Reaper, the sharp end for now. It'll be interesting to see how much of a fight he puts up in the early stages of green flag running once we get back to it. As you rightly say, one would expect this to be the in-lap for the safety car. 16 laps of the race complete, 15 laps of competitive action, of course, with the formation lap being lap number 1. And we're not quite a third of the way through this final section of the high-speed ring 500. Still a long way to go, and I think a few parties here will be hoping that we now get into a slightly longer stint of green flag running.
Yeah, I know myself that second stint there was definitely good for me and let me stay in my rhythm, and I definitely punched out laps within realistically a tenth of each other, so I was very comfortable in that second stint. Without safety cars and stuff, I think the majority of other people can kind of agree with me there. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see on when another safety car may come out, or even if we might not have a safety car. So that'll be the question here. So meat and cheese pie is out, and also Reaper looks to have either jumped the gun or gone early.
I think the latter. Judging by the fact that he was about 60-70 k's slower across the line there, I think the safety car procedure wasn't quite met by Soul Reaper there, and well, he's lost the lead as a result of it, so I guess maybe no harm, no foul there. Diswood ends up in the lead. Speedy Tyres follows him through as well. But a disjointed restart has left some gaps in the field as they go through turn 2 for the first time. Back to green flag action, and it is Diswood now that has inherited the lead side by side there between Devlin and Lurox. Devlin to the outside there at turn 3. Lurox makes it look fairly easy as they now go under the tunnel for the first time back under green flag conditions. There's Mint Matt in 8th position after his pit stop a lap later than the rest of the field, and he is tailed by the fellow It's Racing Esports car, the Honda, driven by the eponymous man himself, the It's Racing of It's Racing Esports, and Slapper's mate there with a 3-second penalty applied to him, so he is going to fall through the order next time they go through the tunnel. Jerem, meanwhile, they're in 11th place with Ridwan behind him. Back to green flag running. They're already a little bit spread out after that slightly disjointed restart. Let's see how this one develops now we're back under green flag.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mid-pack battle going on here, and it's really good. But this car here, the number 55, is actually about 16 or 17 laps down. So unfortunately, they didn't have a driver for the first stint. We did go into daylight savings time, and by the looks of it, they didn't keep an eye on that. So Slapper's always just burning that penalty. So I thought he got a bit more damage there. But yeah, so number 55 is currently one complete stint down. So realistically, he's just turning laps and seeing what he can do possibly for himself or how he can do it for the rest of the team. But It's Racing here. He did get damage on that last lap, so he's just jumped in for some. But that's the question.
A shame.
Being, that, 40 laps to go. I wonder if he might try and make the rest of the race on one stop.
I suppose if he really fills that car up, it is possible. I personally wouldn't want to do much more than 30 laps on these tyres, but we'll see what it does. Speedy Tyres and Ratty McForehead there at Lockheads for 2nd place. Reaper still up there in 5th as well, but Speedy Tyres has just lost that position actually to Ratty, hasn't he?
Yeah, he
and
has.
He's got some damage to boot on the rear, yeah.
Yeah, so that, I think your damage, your ideal one, if you did need to carry it around here, is your front damage. It's a lot easier to run with front aero damage than what it is to run with rear. You actually lose quite a lot of speed with that rear damage compared to a front, but then obviously cars with no damage there, but he's still, I think he's got that car set up to be really nice in the slip, because he essentially, as you can see, he's pulling away from Ratty, but Ratty might look to be losing 2 positions here. No, Matt's in behind him, so he'll pull in. Very nice work there.
Looked as though Matt and Ratty were getting a little bit close there through the flat-out turn 1. It's both stuck behind the now wounded Speedy Tyres as Ridwan dives up the inside for, well, what was going to be 6th place, but it looks like Soul Reaper doing just enough for now to hold on to the position. Cut the nose off Devlin a little bit there, and Devlin having some issues getting the power down.
Yeah, I think he's running traction control as well, so that may be the issue where a lot of drivers around him aren't running traction. I think majority of the drivers aren't running it, so that may hinder him there on corner exit. But being the Lexus, I wonder if he's got it set up so they can have a lot of speed. Soul Reaper seems to be losing time here down the straight. He's a little bit off the pace there in top speed, so a bit unfortunate for him, but looks to be here. Mint Matt's actually made the move on Ratty McFour and Speedy Tyres.
Interesting stuff. I tell you what, I'd actually really like. I decided I was a strong, independent woman who didn't need no setup coming into this race. I did actually receive setups from both Cyric and Matt very kindly, but I decided to go my own way just because I wanted a car that, you know, felt all right and didn't launch me into a barrier. That was kind of my only objective. I'd be interested to see what they would do with my setup, because actually it felt really good. So I'd be intrigued to see what an actual quick driver would do with it. Woodsy, though, leading the way at the moment. Last year's champion in the Trackstars touring cars, proudly displaying that number 1. Of course, it was a dramatic St. Croix 1500 that sealed him the title last year. And we are now into the meat of the season, into the Enduros once again. And I'm sure you can speak to this as well, DJ, that there's an uncomfortable feeling of being sat here on the sidelines watching your car and your championship unfold while you have no control over the situation.
You hit the nail right on the head with that one. It's definitely got me very nervous for this one, but I know Matt, and I know what the caliber of driver he is, and I know what he can do in a race car. So I'm not really worried. Obviously there is that little tiny bit there that if obviously something happens with another car, you know, it might give him damage or something towards the latter stage of the race where you can't kind of make up for it. But yeah, I'm definitely a little bit nervous, but I know that I put the car in a good position for him, and I did what would say, you know, I pulled my weight through stint 1 and 2, so I'm happy. He was happy with my performance, so, you know, it really lifts my confidence knowing that he was happy with that. So
yeah, no, of course. I mean, obviously we know Mint Matt's records, a GT Academy winner, a real-life racer for a good many years as part of the factory Nissan GT3 roster, and a bit of bouncing there, at least on the screen. For Woodsy, it looked like he'd ricocheted off the barrier on camera, but I don't think that was the case on his end. It's racing down there in 13th and a distance from the rest of the pack, and we saw Devlin in the pit lane as well. So again, some woes further back in the pack in the early stages of this green flag stint. But touch wood, it seems as though we are settling down into something of a pattern.
yeah, it looks like here from 10th, 11th, 12th, they all have damage, so they definitely getting hindered by that. But It's Racing looks to be firing through the field as best he can, obviously to his potential. So he has had a couple of months off racing, so just getting back in the seat and getting some laps behind him. But yeah, it's definitely going to be one to watch towards the end. But if you were Woodsy, would you want Matt behind you by 1.4 seconds?
No, I wouldn't want Matt anywhere near me. I have raced Matt a couple of times. I raced Matt before it was cool, before he was a GT Academy winner, way back when. And he was just as scary then as he is now, with all of the reputational growth that he's had since then. And great to see him in action here against Diswood. You say, obviously, you don't want someone like Matt behind you, but it's got to feel like a badge of honour at any point of the race, leading on merit in a field where Mint Matt is also racing. Spud into the pits.
Yeah, of course. Any time you can lead against someone of that caliber, even just myself, you know, I was in my stints, I was keeping up with Captain Risky and Brocky and obviously the likes of Ridwan and Speedy as well. They're fast guys, and obviously we can't take that off them. But for me, obviously myself, to keep up with those guys, and I was about 3 or 4 tenths away from Matt in practice. So even then, I'm definitely know where I am, and if I can hold it down pretty well. But one driver as well that kind of snuck under the radar this year is definitely Ratty. So people might not know who he is. He's actually coming for you 194 from last year, so he's had a bit of a name change. And yeah, he's definitely snuck under the radar this year. He was 3rd in the championship before last round at Red Bull Ring, and I do believe he had a not too bad performance, so he's definitely up there in the top 3, top 4. So he's flying under the radar quite considerably this year, so he's actually put some time on Matt, so that's very nice there.
I was going to say, very much on the radar, I reckon, of the It's Racing Honda driver just ahead of him there. You saw in the slip heading towards turn 2, Ratty McForehead was closing in. Can't make a move at turn 2 per the gentleman's agreement, however, and Mint Matt watching on through that rear view mirror. Speedy Tyres still limping on with the damage at this stage in 4th place, with Jerem just behind him in one of the Hondas. So interesting to see that Speedy Tyres is still out there. He's lost what probably amounts to about 6.5 seconds or so to the front few since he gained that damage, but realistically one would hope, I suppose in his case, that we are not going to make 32 laps clean from here without any further safety cars. He's just thinking, right, I'll stay on the lead lap, I stay in the top 10, I'll make my pit stop when I was intending to.
As we say that is a safety car. Who's that? That's Lurock. So there's a safety car there, so we'll definitely keep an eye. Oh, It's Racing's made a quick early action for that one, so he will definitely have to wait and see on how It's Racing comes out of this. But this lead pack is definitely going to be one to watch on, who pits, who doesn't pit, because I think if they can get their tune and look after the car right, they should, touch wood, be able to get to the end of the race. Yep, as I say that, Woods is in, Matt follows him in, Ratty goes through, so that's a very interesting move there from Ratty.
Definitely, yeah, that is intriguing. Oftentimes when one goes in, the rest doth follow, and well, yes they have, but Ratty McForehead has decided to forge his own path, and that path will lead him to the rear of the safety car for the time being. Soul Reaper going incredibly slowly there. What's wrong with him? No engine damage to speak of or anything, so I'm not quite sure what's happening for that driver.
Sure, maybe he might have passed a safety car or something might have happened, but they'll be sorting that out because they're in a bit of a party chat there. So that was also what we were in, stint 1 and 2, so it made life a lot easier. But yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on there, so they'll get that sorted out, let the field bunch back up. We may go probably to like roughly about 29-ish here. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and as we've said, the driver flying under the radar now currently leads the race. So Matt seems to have put a little bit more fuel in than what Woodsy has, so that may come into Matt's play towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I think we are now at a point where people will be pitting with maybe a view to getting to the end. If you end up dropping down to 7th and 8th, I could see you bolting on some new tyres just for the sake of the grip towards the end if we get another safety car. But I think we are now very much within a stint's radius of the finish, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we did see Captain Risky go a full 38 laps on one set of tyres, but words from him.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I thought he was way ahead.
Yeah, so I actually ended up catching him. I was 21 seconds behind him when I came out of the pits, and I actually had to save fuel for, I think it was 4 laps. So that's what that's actually how Brocky caught me. But yeah, I was trying to save fuel, but if I didn't have to do that, I reckon I would have got back up to him. But yeah, he didn't change tyres, didn't fuel up or anything like that. But I asked him, I go, mate, how did you get to the end of that stint with those tyres? And he goes, mate, if there's a word for my tyres are dead, I would use it. So yeah, it seems like his tyres were, apparently there was roughly about 1 or 2 millimeters left on the tyre bar, so I'm very surprised that he got that long with those tyres. So
That's a bold man right there, I
Yeah.
must say. Well beyond the point of Bono tyres are gone, which we'll hear in a few hours at the Singapore Grand Prix. I have no doubt about that. So important that you have the grip underneath you, especially on the rear axle, given we are carrying over 800 brake horsepower in these cars in Trackstar's touring car specification. High RPM turbo is present on the car. That doesn't really make itself known from a traction perspective around a majority of the lap, but out of 3 and definitely out of 4, the turbo does bite sometimes. I saw you in particular, DJ, a couple of times really fighting the car out of the corner.
Yeah, I accidentally left it in 3rd gear coming out of 4 a couple of times, and the car was definitely very snappy. So it's
Wait, you're not meant to have it in 3rd?
my gearing setup, I was supposed to have it in 4th. So yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was yeah, my gearing so that when I was in 4th gear and I was kind of flat on the accelerator, was just using the low end torque of the car. So it's yeah, essentially what would be the turbo definitely causes havoc in some corners, but especially at turn 2, it in a way it kind of pulls the car through the corner, and gives you some pretty good exit speed. But yeah, other than that, it does cause havoc some places, especially in the wet. But yeah, it's a very interesting combination that we've got, but it was probably the closest balanced performance we could get without having, say, 1 or 2 cars exceed more than what the others do.
I must say, I don't think I ever tackled turn 2 fast enough to explore the effects of the turbo through there. I was going very easy indeed around that particular turn. We now have a situation where one would expect the safety car in very shortly. It looked like Meat and Cheese Pie was readying up to abandon ship. We'll wait for confirmation on that, but Ratty McForehead in all likelihood is about to lead the field away for another stint of green flag action. He will be on older tyres than pretty much everyone behind him. Could make for some interesting stuff.
Yeah, so there was a confirmation of the safety car in, and he's currently doing that, flying that GDR safety car through the last corner. But yeah, it's all up to Ratty McForehead, who's currently on some worn tyres, and I don't know how they're going to go through turn 2 compared to some of these drivers with fresh tyres. And obviously he's got a little bit less fuel, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting one come turn 2 in the next probably 5 laps.
Absolutely. Here comes Ratty McForehead then as we get back underway, and he leads them off. Looks like he's got a fairly good gap over Diswood as they go through turn 1 for the first time back under racing speeds. Matt there coming under some pressure from, I'm sure, a newly rejuvenated Speedy tyres. He's finally got a car that feels like it wants to go around corners, and Matt has damage.
Yeah, Matt picked up some rear damage there, so it looks like he might have gone a bit too heavy on the brakes into turn 2. So it's going to be a very interesting one on how he plays this with that damage and how the car handles. So I wouldn't have wanted to get that first lap after safety car, but it's Matt. He's a bit of an alien, and we'll just wait and see what he does, because he's actually in the slipstream of Woodsy still. So I wonder if you might kind of stress out Woodsy a little bit and see if he can make a mistake. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting considering the top 6 really are within 2.5 seconds of the leader.
Yeah, so we see there that Matt has stayed out at least for this lap. We'll see what he does henceforth, but he's getting swallowed as they run through turns 1 and 2. I get the feeling he might pit, because that will be hugely frustrating for Matt.
Yeah, sorry. I think he...
Break.
Yeah, my guess would he would pit, but obviously he's got his own plans, and we'll wait and see what he does there. But Spud gone a little bit deep on the brakes there into turn 3, so yeah, it's whether or not he pits and he knows he can put confidence in the car to try and pull some time. But there's obviously the occasion that there may not be a safety car, so just with the speed that he has, he may just kind of stick it out and hope for a probably top 5 or top 6. But yeah, if there's a safety car, he'd be probably one of the first in pits.
And there he comes now into pit lane. So Matt has indeed thrown in the towel on that one. I can attest that even with the slip, you lose the better part of a second a lap. And we have a off there for Jerem, but no engine damage.
Yeah.
No engine damage. A lot of damage, but none of it to the engine of the Honda. And so Jerem limps in. No safety car will be required for that one. Matt rejoins the race in 13th place and some way off the pack. He will now, though, be guaranteed to get to the finish on the tyres and fuel that he has got, you'd suspect. However, particularly if we don't get any further pauses to the action, it's going to be a big fight to the front for Matt.
Yeah, he was 19 seconds off the pace there, but that is one pit stop, and my guess is Ratty ain't going to be able to get to the end on those tyres. I can tell you that right now with that amount of wear. So he will need to pit. So I think he's kind of counting his blessings, saying that there may be another safety car. So that'll be definitely an interesting one. But we've got a nice battle pack here for third and fourth. But I wonder if they're just trying to work together to catch Woodsy. But yeah, it's an interesting one, and see how this may play out.
3 cars into turn 2 practically together. We see 2 more following each other as well further back in the pack. But let's take a look at that battle for second if we can, because Diswood is right up, or rather Diswood is being followed very closely by Spud and Speedy for now in the battle for second place. A bit of a correction there by the looks of it from Diswood as he tried to get the car turned in with the power down. A little bit of a snap. They now go through the final corner, and Wood should have the tow. Speedy Tyres will have double tow as they run down the straight. I think Ratty McForehead is close enough to Diswood for a little bit of help for Wood to maybe stay ahead. We've got another car coming into the pit lane. Who was that? It was Sirik in again. So Sirik into the pit lane. He has some damage there to the front suspension and the front splitter. That was the damage I tried to limp through earlier on, so I'm glad that my newfound teammate has seen the error of my ways and decided to get that sorted post-haste. McForehead leads the way, and Spud has got himself up into second place while we're looking at the pit lane there. So Spud has got up into second. That's demoted Woodsy down to third place, and Speedy Tyres remains in a watching brief in P4.
Yeah, I think Speedy's just buying his time here, just playing it safe and watching these guys go at it, and hoping that, you know, one of them may make a mistake or they just try and go at each other and just kind of swoop in for the kill. Because I know that happened to me. I think I was in a lead pack somewhere, and 2 cars went past me. One went on the outside and one went on the inside, and I couldn't do anything about it. So yeah, I think he might be in a bit of a best position here, but he makes one mistake, he will fall off that pack. So it's going to be a very close one to watch here, but he's stayed in that slip there of Woodsy. But yeah, as I said, Speedy Tyres in that 41, he's got that thing absolutely cranked up in the slip. So
yeah, I mean, I think he might be. How's his fuel looking? I wonder how much he's got, and well, he should have enough to get to the end regardless, I'd suggest. So I was just wondering if maybe he's using the slip to save a little bit, but it looks like he'd have enough regardless.
yeah, he's got roughly about probably 49%, where Woodsy's got about 47, 46. So it's probably using that slipstream there to short shift and save a bit of fuel, not run too many revs and lift and coast into the corner. But maybe he might be just trying to send it to the end. But yeah, it's quite an interesting battle pack we've got here. As we say that, he's gone for a move here on Diswood. So I wonder if he's going to be able to get up. No, he can't. That high line is definitely a lot more potent it is than what that low line is.
Yeah, I think Woodsy was helped there as well by the tow from Spud up ahead to just stay clear of the GTR. Of course, we've got 3 manufacturers in battle here for second, third and fourth place, and it is a Lexus 1-2. When we were in the top 6 shootout yesterday, I'm not sure many people would have put good money on a Mash Spuds Racing 1-2 in the Lexuses.
No, it's very very up and down depending on cars and tracks and stuff like that too. So, but seeing Mash Spuds here in 1 and 2, maybe they might be playing a bit of team orders, trying to get each other up. But yeah, those tyres I'm really not liking on Ratty's car. So he's either going to try and go to the end or hope to God that there's going to be another safety car. So it's That's just stressing me out from up here. But yeah, Woodsy seems to be using those tyres. Sorry, Spudgy seems to be using his tyres quite a lot more than what Woodsy is as well. So it's going to be a
lot
interesting fight back here as well.
Will be. Lurox into the pit lane. Mint Matt, meanwhile, they're just back into the top 10, but Lurox is in. He has front and rear aero damage there, so that is a no-brainer pit stop for the long-term racer for Robbo Sports. Jerem there in 13th and Soul Reaper down in 14th position at this stage. There we see Matt in 10th place. He's got a few seconds of clear air before he gets to Gabans, and I think in his current circumstances, clear air is exactly what he needs.
Yeah, the dirty air, I don't know if you noticed, it's really, really bad coming into a braking zone. It really carries a lot of speed, and what should be aero, it's just not likable at all by anyone. I know from obviously myself, but yeah, it's not ideal, but give Matt some free air and he can work some wonders. But it's racing as well, come up here into 5th place, so he's done a solid job there for John, actually setting a PB on the last lap with a 57.4, so I'm sure that's a lot of confidence there for it, knowing that he's pulling some good laps in that car.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see him back in the main frame, the big leagues of the Trackstars touring cars, and Lurox there had to serve a penalty as well. There are the two Lexuses as Diswood decides he needs to make a pit stop because he has damage. That's a major development, of course, in the championship as well, because Diswood is effectively racing Mint Matt here in the championship battle. Matt acting as proxy, as it were, for the man to my left by about 5,000 miles, DJ. And there goes Matt through, and Diswood only just exiting the pits now, has a 3-second penalty as well. He's going to lose a lot of time here, and Matt will be pretty happy, I think, to see Woodsy back behind him.
Yeah, it looks like he might have crossed the pit line, possibly on entry or exit there, but the GT system picks those up in game, so that makes our life a 1,000 times easier, because then it's one thing we don't have to review and the game kind of does it itself. But I know if it was me, I'd definitely be happy with that penalty there from Matt, but he's actually pulled some time into the leader, so he's pulled about 1.5 seconds there since his last stop. So I know he'll be poaching for a safety car, I think, with Ridwan and Savage also having damage here too. So.
We are well into the final 20 laps of the High Speed Ring 500, and I tell you what, it will be a dramatic final few laps if we do get another safety car and the likes of Wood and Matt, who are now both out of position, get the opportunity to attack the field. Compressed post safety car. We've got a yellow flag up ahead of the leaders there. Not sure what that was for, but we did have a yellow. I think that might have been someone just serving their penalty. Spud remains in the lead for now. It was Sirik who had a penalty to serve. Looks like he's really struggling out there at the moment. And back into the pits once more goes Sirik.
Yeah, he definitely seems to be struggling a lot with that NSX there. Obviously, Sirik has been away from the sim racing for a little bit. He did have a newborn with his little girl come in a couple of months back, so he's just taken the time off and spent some more time with him and the partner. So doing pretty well here, but this is going to be a very, very nice finish here with just over 17 laps to go. So it's all these top three, and then there's 6 seconds back to its racing. So it's going to be interesting if there is another safety car.
Indeed, and Ratty McForehead now behind Spud as well, so perhaps these tyres are starting to give way for Ratty. You can see he's been wearing that rubber, that Dunlop Dureza rubber, for a lot longer than anyone around him, and I'd imagine particularly at turns 2, 3 and 4 that is proving to be particularly hairy, speedy tyres. Is now closing in on the Lexus, and our race leader is Spud, the man who had all of the number ones in 2021 after a particularly potent 2020 season. He would dearly love to get some points on the board in these Enduros and maybe be in with a shot at the title by year's end.
Yeah, he definitely want that. I know he wants the number one back, considering he had it in 2020. So he's definitely been hungry for it, and we've got Speedy who's hungry for it as well. But that Lexus seems to be really taily through turn two with those worn tyres. So as you can see there, he's really taily coming into turn four, and that's that right rear definitely starting to wear really badly for all of the guys. And if Spud's like that, I wonder how Ratty is. But obviously there's the difference here being Spud on a controller and Ratty and Speedy on wheels too. So maybe that might be a bit easier to manage on a wheel. But definitely on a controller, it's a lot harder to handle and adapt to when your tyres are starting to wear.
I feel like GT7 is a bit more harsh on the controller players in general, having done a bit of both. Here comes Ratty McForehead. Oh, they're still side by side. Ratty felt that he had the position there. Spud said, okay, take it. But I think Ratty, did he pile himself into the Armco there? I'm not sure whether he ended up with damage. Lurox certainly has, and it's engine damage, so the safety car is out. And well, we said that if the safety car did come out again, it would be grandstand viewing. We've got a lot of quick drivers down towards the bottom half of the order, and they now have an opportunity to get the elbows out, go racing, and challenge for the win. This man, Mint Matt, and Dis Wood will profit from this. I expect that Ratty McForehead will immediately head to get rid of those tyres, and everyone else is going to go for a fresh set of boots as well.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's following each other in, and depending on Matt and how he wants to manage it, I think I would probably come in, but he stays out, so he probably feels that those tyres are well enough that he can keep the pace up and keep it going. So he's definitely and just like that, you've got Matt first, Spud second, Speedy third, Ratty fourth, and Diswood's actually stayed out as well, but he's been caught up in a pack of four. So.
Wow, that's very interesting. Both of those drivers, of course, running the Honda, as we alluded to, mid-rear car, more weight on the rear axle. Thus, you'd expect more wear on that right rear tyre around this left-hand predominant circuit. I think that in both cases that is a very bold strategy, especially given the field will be compressed into one batch with this safety car period. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision, I'm saying it's maybe a slightly surprising one.
Yeah, it's definitely surprising for me, and it's made me nervous. But knowing that, but there won't be any safety cars with 5 laps to go. So the end of lap 55, start of lap 56, there is no 55. Sorry. So end of 54, start of 55. There's no more safety cars. So it's going to be very interesting on how it is. But maybe Matt sees the spare 2 laps here. He can just take it easy on the tyres. Let them cool down, not use them too much. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see on how this ends.
I think especially for Woodsy, because unlike Matt, he didn't gain any track position for that. Sure, he's a lot closer to the cars around him now. At least Matt ended up at the front of the queue. For Woodsy, that's not the case. So almost a double question mark there, because he didn't gain a lot and now he's got a lot more to lose.
Yeah, I did notice that Woodsy made a lot of positions up off the race start as well as the safety car start, so it's going to be a lot interesting. But maybe the 95 in front of Woodsy here might play a bit of havoc, because we know what its racing is capable of, but there's a lot of fast drivers in front of Woodsy that have the potential there, so it's going to be very interesting to see if he can charge through the field, because I think you know as well as I do that Woodsy's definitely on the charge for this last stint, considering the qualifying penalty that he did get.
Yeah, Woodsy isn't one to mince his words, and he doesn't do the same on the circuit either. No punches pulled when you're in head-to-head combat with Dis Wood, and that is why he's successful. That's why he is a force to be reckoned with here in the world of the Trackstars touring cars and the wider Trackstars organisation, and always up for a scrap. Always exciting to watch. Slapper's mate behind him, he's on the fresh rubber. Slappers is going to be telling for Woodsy here. If Slappers is challenging Woodsy off the safety car, then he might think, oh, maybe I did make the wrong decision. Those fresh tyres are suddenly looking rather rosy.
Yeah, the new tyre models definitely made it very interesting, but that's maybe another question as well. You know, will Slappers try and take it to Woods because he's on the fresh rubber and those Nissans are definitely very strong. But if that happens and Woodsy loses that position to Slappers, that definitely makes it what would you say, better for the likes of the top 5 here who are in the running for the championship. So it's gonna definitely spice things up a little bit.
It's a very compelling picture that we're painting here at the high speed ring in the final dozen laps of this race. Imagine we'll have the safety car in at the end of this lap, and as you rightly noted, once we get to the start of lap 55, there are no more safety cars to reckon with. So we are rapidly approaching the point of no return. Green flag running all the way home could be an option here. Of course, the old motorsport proverbs that we would like to rely on here in the commentary box. Safety cars do in fact breed safety cars, and potentially for the likes of Matt, and I'd say certainly for the likes of Woodsy, it could be a nice opportunity to correct themselves if they feel they've made the wrong decision once we go back to green flag racing. We are about to go back to green flag racing, and it is Mint Matt that leads the pack.
Yeah, the safety car is pulling away there, and Matt's holding that 140 k's there, and he's got a hard charging and Spud, Speedy Tyres and Ratty McForehead behind him, so they're definitely not going to want to let Matt get away from them come lap 55. But I did warn Matt that those tyres get a bit hairy when they start to get worn, obviously being the MR. But yeah, he's definitely a very smart person, and he knows what to do, so he's going to bunch his field up and go when he feels is right, which is now, and he's actually got the jump there on Spud, so he's gapped him a little tiny bit, and now he's just...
That's a nice... Yeah, that is a nice jump. Apologies to cut over you there. Very good jump from Matt as he gets back underway, side by side, potentially for second place. I don't think Speedy Tyres is quite going to get there before turn 2, and he ends up rather cutting up Ratty McForehead there. Close quarters action as they head towards turn 2. Back under green flag conditions, under this rather fetching bridge, or through over the rather fetching bridge they go, and it is Mint Matt in the lead. Let's watch this apex speed here through these corners. Looks decent. What's the Delta saying over the front-ended cars behind? The NSX is usually strong through those S-bends. It looked like Matt did gain a couple of tenths, but every passing lap, those tyres I think are going to show their age a little bit more.
Yeah, every passing lap will do, and he gained about 3.5 tenths on Spud, but Spud is in the slipstream, so wonder what Matt may play at it here and see how it goes. But Woodsy's caught damage as well. This is massive.
Massive, yeah, no understating this. Woodsy is in, but I think a move for the lead might be on. If we can go back to that, I think that Matt and Spud are very close, not quite able to draw alongside on that occasion, of course, with the turn 2 situation there with the gentleman's agreement. No move made at turn 2. Matt holds on for now, and Spud is keeping a watching brief. He's got to worry though about Speedy Tyres behind as well. We've seen Woodsy rejoin. He's just coming out of turn 1 now, and he will be hoping for a safety car desperately in these last few laps. That really is his only shot of a top 10 potentially in these closing stages of the race. Now Woodsy's race hangs in the balance. I remind you, if we get to lap 55, there are no more safety cars at play. Devlin, meanwhile, with Jerem for 8th place. Jerem draws alongside, side-by-side action. I think that Jerem will have the nose ahead by the time they get to turn 2. He has the nose ahead as they go through the apex of turn 1, but that high line working for Devlin there, and I think that Jerem is going to have to, yes indeed, he does disarm himself, get back behind Devlin for another lap, but Devlin looked like he bonked himself into the Armco on the stream, but no damage. If he did, he got away with it. Slapper's mate, well, we were speculating whether he'd make life difficult for Woodsy. We don't know the exact circumstances of Woodsy's damage, but all signs point to the fact that Woodsy has made life a lot harder for himself.
Yeah, he's made life a lot harder for himself there, but yeah, it's very that's critical championship contention there for Woodsy. Dropping back there to 15th place. That's obviously going to be minimum points, so that'll definitely take a hit on his championship credit. Granted that Ratty McForehead is in 5th, Speedy's in 3rd, and Matt's currently leading. So as you were saying before, you know, my championship's in the hands of Matt realistically, where everyone else, same as John's essentially, in the hands of Itz. But yeah, everyone else is the main driver, obviously apart from Slappers here. Yeah, it's definitely got me on my toes, but yeah, it's gonna be a bit nerve-wracking for me come these last couple of laps. But Matt seems to be doing a good job here. He's gap Spud there by 1 second, so he's jumped out of that slipstream range. But Speedy's in Spud's slipstream, so that's critical there for Matt.
Critical for Matt, and hugely impressive as well that on these worn tyres, these much older Dunlops, he has managed to gap Spud and get himself out of that slipstream zone. I think he's still just about getting a toe actually off the Honda as they run through turn 1, but he's not going to be anywhere near close enough for any trouble for Matt into turn 2. That does, however, give Spud the opportunity to hold off Speedy tyres for another lap. If Speedy and Spud start to fight each other, start to go too wide through corners and such, that will once again play into the hands of Matt. Of course, he will be willing on Speedy tyres to an extent. He'd rather Speedy didn't easily get past Spud and then start to chase him down, but as long as they are keeping each other distracted, that can only serve to benefit Matt.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because I do know that Speedy is strong in the slip compared to what I think Spud was. I didn't really have much of a battle with Spud, but Matt's starting to pull away here very so slightly from Spud. But in saying that, Speedy's now battling here with Spud, so that's definitely playing into the hands of Matt. And I'm pretty sure if he's looking in his mirror, he'll be saying, "Come on, boys, please fight it out for me." So it's going to be very interesting. But we'll jump back to the back here. And Woodsy's still mugging around there in 14, so he's probably just setting some personal best laps here, hoping for another safety car in the next, what would be,
I think we've had drama
laps.
down at turn 2. I think someone had a moment at turn 2 further back in the pack, maybe in 7th or 8th place potentially. Has anyone copped damage? Engine damage for Ridwan. Safety car should be out then by the letter of the law, and here it comes. A lifeline, a life raft has been thrown out to Diswood. I saw the cursor spinning frantically out of turn 2, and it was Ridwan. And this man, Matt, has gone past the pit lane again. He wants that track position over fresh tyres, clearly, and at this stage of the race, you can certainly make the argument for that. But this changes everything once again.
Yeah, that's definitely a game changer, and I think Woodsy would be praying for that happened. But some of the other drivers as well picked up some damage. You know, Ratty picked up damage, and what I think possibly Jerem did as well. So, but yeah, it's going to definitely spice things up at this pointy end of the field. And yeah, Matt's doing an outstanding job on those tyres with would be 5 to go at the end of this lap.
Wow, wow, wow. Just when they think they know the answers, we've changed the questions. If you know that reference, then a nod of the head to you. Mint Matt is our race leader. He is on a worn set of tyres there in the Honda NSX put together by the It's Racing esports team. Of course, they are running Bridgestones. I did reference Dunlops earlier, my apologies. My tyre brands, of course, tyre competition, kind of a thing here. One way or the other, and it is Mint Matt on those Bridgestones who is going to be really rather worried in those last few laps now with the entire field behind him on those worn rubbers. But ultimately, I think at this stage of the race, there was no merit at all to pitting.
No, granted that he was this far into the race, and I think, yeah, it's going to be a very spicy one. But yeah, MSR chose to run the Dunlops, and we've chosen to run the Bridgestone. So hopefully Bridgestone slaps some good rubbers on there, some extra grippy ones, and yeah, you can pull it to the front. But yeah, Matt's just got to keep a kind of level head here and see how it goes. But yeah, we've got some regulars in the chat. We've got John in the chat as well, Brando as well, saying shout out to me for being me. Thanks mate, much appreciated. Brian, let's go It's Racing Esports 16 and 95, and this will be the final safety car. So it's good to see everyone following along, and if you're new to this stream, jump in the Discord, like and subscribe on YouTube, and we are live usually every Sunday. We do have a 2-week period because next week is Bathurst, and then we have our Bathurst 1000. After that, we have gone safety car in at the end of this lap. So prior to the end of this lap, there will be 3 green laps running. So it's definitely going to be a outstanding end to this, I think.
DJ, I've got an offer for you that you couldn't confuse if you should want to take it. If you don't want to commentate on this and you just want to watch through your fingers, I'm happy to take the last 4 laps.
If you would, I might jump in. But yeah, I think I'll just follow along with you and watch this all unfold. So.
Okay, mate. I'll take it from here then. 4 laps of racing left to go. We'll begin at lap 56 of 59. My good colleague DJ, both of us were in this race today. He has a lot more riding on it, though, as this man, Mint Matt, holds his title aspirations in his hands. There's still a ways to go. Many thousands of kilometres of racing left to go in this 2022 Trackstars Touring Cars season. But still, the points are critical when we get to this time of year, and it's a good launch from Mint Matt as they get underway. Wasn't quite as good as last time, though. He hasn't got the same gap as he had previously over Spud. We've got side-by-side action there for 3rd place between It's Racing and Speedy Tyres. Of course, It's Racing, I'm sure with championship in mind as well, would love to get up to 2nd place and play rear gunner for Matt if at all possible, although he is also, of course, fighting for John, who is a championship contender in his own right. And It's Racing 1-2 would be nice for It's Racing himself, I'm sure, as well. But there is the small matter of a Mash Spuds Lexus there in 2nd place, and that is belonging to none other than N Spud P666, the ever-quick man who operates the Mash Spuds Racing team, stays loyal to Toyota and Lexus brand products. And the Lexus hasn't always looked like the fancied car this weekend. You saw it in the top 6 shootout yesterday. He was the only Lexus in that top 6 shootout, but now he is there in 2nd place and could be a factor in this race win. Here is Spud in the lead, so Matt has been overtaken. Matt has lost out on the lead. They're going down the main straight and around turn 1. We've also got to move on there between Speedy Tyres and It's Racing. Speedy is up into 3rd position, and It's Racing under a lot of pressure from Lurox as well. Lurox, who has been rather anonymous so far today, is now up to 4th place. Powers around the outside of the Honda. The Honda is usually quick through mid-speed corners such as turn 3 and 4, but Lurox seemingly with a little bit extra right now. He moves himself up into 4th place. What is the gap looking like now between Matt and Spud? Matt is within striking distance, but he's going to need to get a good tow here as we go on to the penultimate lap of the race, and he is closing in once again on Spud. Is this going to be a game of tennis at 200 miles an hour over the next couple of laps? Spud goes defensive. He wants to hold on to this lead if he possibly can. He takes the high line, does Mint Matt. We ride on chase cam with him, and he's going to have to yield the lead into turn 2. Couldn't quite get alongside Spud, couldn't quite hold a legitimate claim to the lead into turn 2. The rest of the pack runs through the 2nd corner of the lap as well, and it is Speedy Tyres in 3rd place, Lurox in 4th, It's Racing in 5th place, and Ratty McForehead in 6th. A penalty for Diswood, that's critical. 1.5 second penalty for Woodsy. In 7th place, he's got damage as well by the looks of it, and he is now going to slow down, and he's going to fall right through the order, and with that damage, he's unlikely to end up in the top 10. So come what may at the front of the order, Woodsy is going to score a very low score indeed, and Mint Matt is back through into the lead as we go on to the final lap. Matt and DJ are leading the way for It's Racing Esports, but here comes Spud on the fresher rubber, side by side at over 200 miles an hour, 330 Ks, and it is just about Spud with the nose ahead. Spud back back into the lead. Just a few corners left now between Spud and Matt gets a mighty run out of turn 2. Old Rubber be damned. He found the grip there and he's back into the lead, but he runs it wide. He's going to have a shallow entry into the second element of this S-bend. He's still just about got the lead. Oh, and a moment there for Spud. Spud there with a snap of oversteer. That is the cushion I think Mint Matt needs, unless Spud gets a spectacular run through the final corner. It will be Mint Matt that crosses the line to take the win in the High Speed Ring 500. He does it with a flash of the headlight. It is glory for Mint Matt and DJ, our winners here. Far from disappointed, my commentary colleague, the winner of the High Speed 500 High Speed Ring 500 along with Mint Matt. DJ, your championship hopes have just taken a significant leap forward and a significant step backward for the driver of the number 1 car, Diswood, with dramas in the last couple of laps. Lurox, I think, may have run it out of fuel right at the end there as well. He ends up finishing plumb last in 14th place. A lot of dramas there with the late safety car. But DJ, tell me your thoughts after that.
Oh mate, I can't believe that. I'm bloody shaking. That's I'm speechless, Matt. Yeah. Oh, that move there from Matt, he got the best run out of turn 2 there, and he just sent it around the outside, and I'm speechless. That's incredible, and yeah, that's why he's a master at his craft. And that's I don't know. I got no words.
Mate, well, when Spud ended up ahead into turn 2, you got the feeling it might not be over, but you'd think going through turn 2 with old tyres on the wagon, Mint Matt wasn't going to get that kind of run, but he conjured it up from somewhere deep inside, coming out of T4. Spud then made the error. The traction got the better of him in the Lexus, and that was all the opportunity Mint Matt needed. No drag race to the line. No defibrillator needed for my colleague DJ after that snap of oversteer in the tunnel for Spud. And Mint Matt is our winner. Speedy Tyres taking 3rd place, meaning we've got 3 brands and 3 teams on the podium here at the High Speed Ring 500. It's Racing takes 4th, which I'm sure John will be mighty grateful for. And where did Diswood end up finishing? I missed that in amongst everything. He ended up finishing down in 9th place. So that penalty right at the end there and that front splitter damage proving costly. He did fall out of the top 10. He got back up to 9th place. That is going to be sore viewing going into our next 2 events, the 2 remaining Enduros for Diswood.
Yeah, that's massive there from Diswood, copying that damage right at the end. And yeah, it's obviously the championship was on the line, but I don't like seeing, you know, drivers cop damage and losing out to that. But yeah, I've got the utmost respect for Woodsy there, and it is sad to see him dropping down the pack there. But yeah, that's a stellar performance. I'm still speechless. That was just how Matt pulled that off around turn 3, because you could you could see Spud was really defensive coming into turn 3, and that turn 4 snap as well. That kind of cemented it really, because Matt got a really clean exit. Even as well, we nearly had a double podium there too for It's Racing. So I'm just so proud of the boys there. You know, I did my stint, Matt did his, and Matt carried me essentially through top 6 in qualifying. But yeah, hats off to him, but also to the rest of the field. You know, the amount of boys out there, they're awesome racers, and yeah, just can't thank everyone enough. But yeah, unfortunate for Woodsy, but Speedy had a good result there too, so that should hopefully lift him up in the championship compared to missing last week.
Yeah, that is a very impressive showing of just what the Trackstars Touring Car Series can be. We have one of the finest lineups in Australian sim racing, at least in the world of Gran Turismo. And that was a great display of some of the action we can get. It went down to the wire. A late safety car, a last lap battle for the lead. And Mint Matt ending up victorious. And not the first time we've said that, of course. Mint Matt and yourself, DJ, have proved to be a formidable combination prior to today, but wow, I certainly didn't think he'd be able to fight from underneath. I didn't think he'd be able to make those tyres last, but Mint Matt, the alien, as you called him earlier on, has once again pulled something out of the bag that us mere mortals are certainly not privy to.
Yeah, I called him during the week. I told him to get back in the vending machine. If there's anyone out there that can get my reference being an alien, it is a Toy Story reference. So when they're at yeah, so he's an alien of his craft, and he deserves all the recognition he gets. But yeah, it's just been an outstanding week, just for all drivers. You know, just a week with all qualifying, top 6 shootout. Obviously the penalty that was given by the stewards to the car number 1, but yeah, it's the drivers that, you know, go through us and listen to us and work with us through everything. It just makes our life easier, just as a whole series, and makes stuff really clean and a lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, you know, we're working with a broken game, and we're just trying to do as best we can. So yeah, it's, I guess, you know, GT7 at its finest, yeah.
Yeah, that Discord will not know what's hit it the day that we can see weights and power in lobbies. I have so many ideas cooking that I hope at some point I could implement. It's really cruel they've given us aero on every car and everything else, and then taken away the most basic thing required for a BOP. But that's a conversation for a whole other day. For now, we bask in what was an incredibly exciting Trackstars Touring Cars High Speed Ring 500. Mint Matt and DJ out on top. And DJ, I mean, the final words to you. 2 more races incoming. 2 races of increasing distance and increasing tension. How are you feeling coming into the sharp end of the season now?
It's very nerve-wracking for me, I think, with just in general, for the championship. You know, I've never been so close to a championship lead or anything like that, so it's definitely making me feel better for myself. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to what the rest of the drivers can take to it. And I think at the moment, the 2022 championship as well is at its finest and at its peak at the moment. Obviously, we do have GT7's issues, but yeah, it's as I guess, you know, we're giving it our best shot, and so far, it's definitely paying for it at the moment.
That's the final word from DJ, the racing driver, but we've got a bit more broadcasting to do. I understand we might have the man who took the flag, Mint Matt, joining us. In fact, as I say it, he pops into the Discord. Nice timing, mate. Nice timing as well on the last restart, on the final laps of the race, if you can hear me. And if you're up there with the mic, Matt, I mean, talk us through those final laps. What was the decision, or what led to the decision to stay on those old tyres? It looked like it could have been rather sketchy, and yet you made it work.
I think his mic's muted, so he may have to unmute it on his end.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if he...
I've allowed it here. Oh, there we go. Use voice. There we go. You should try that now.
Here he comes.
There we go. Yeah,
I'll let you boys get your congratulations out the way first.
Hi, lads. Hello, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all working. I had to fix around with the permissions, but mate, that I was so. Oh, mate, ask Adam. I was so nervous coming into that last section there. That was incredible.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, Matt.
I'm on a high. Hey, Adam. Good to
I'm
see you, mate.
interested in that decision on those old tyres towards the end. I thought for sure you'd pit with everyone else, and I thought for sure it was going to make for tricky driving in the last few laps of the race when we got that late safety car. How did you make that work, particularly turn 2 last lap? You seem to have more grip than anyone in spite of the age of your rubber.
I decided to send it. It's not always a great move. It's definitely a risky move. But, yeah, I got... Obviously, halfway through the race, when I got that damage on one of the restarts on the first lap, I just misjudged the cold tyres at turn 2 and got re-damaged, and I was like 20 seconds back. I was like, oh, we might be done here. Let's hope for another safety car. But I got into a really good groove in turn 2 and kind of figured out how to drive it without minimal risk and be able to carry really good speed. So that kind of helped. But then we're in obviously unknown territory when the last couple of that safety car came out and everyone pitted. And I decided not to take tyres. I didn't want to be 6. I didn't want to be mid-pack because I felt like I'd struggle in dirty air a little bit. So yeah, I decided I'll start in the lead and we'll just see if we can hang on, basically. So big ups to Spud. Those last couple of laps were just mega. That was so much fun. So I had to spun the team on P2 and like Speedy Tyres and Risky on P3. They've been absolutely dominant all 3 since this weekend. Or today. So yeah, no, it was just a crazy finish, and yeah, full respect with Spud. We had some awesome racing at the end there.
Got to ask as well, it's not an unknown situation where you've got one driver in the championship, one driver not. It's a slightly different scenario for me currently in ADAC GT Masters, where we've got Raffaele Marciello, who's had a bit of musical chairs alongside him. He leads the championship on his lonesome at the moment. Daniel Juncadella playing kind of backstop for him at this stage of the year. Talk me through it, though, as a driver. I mean, are you thinking about the fact that, there is a championship at play, albeit not yours?
There was definitely, when I had that accident, like when he caused the damage, I went straight to the championship. Well, no, because I felt for DJ. He'd been driving so well all day and all weekend to get to both P2s in his stint. So, but you kind of block that out as much as, DJ's in the championship and he's been obviously leading it and doing absolutely amazing this year. It really just had to get into the zone and just full focus on the job at hand. So with leading and the tyres that I had, I just had to focus on trying to hold it. And fortunately we were able to get it across the line. But yeah, proud of DJ for everything he's done this weekend, being a mega teammate. Also, big ups to Itz and John on getting P4 at the end there as well. That's an awesome overall team result. So, should hold our heads high and, awesome start to the Enduro Series this season.
DJ, the boys done good, huh?
They did not too bad. No, they did a stellar job, and really, like, we put Matt in the car, and I'm like, look, what I think our pre-game or pre-race chat was kind of, just race it, see how it goes, and see where we end up, and it is what it is, and see what the outcome is, and we just essentially went in there, sent it. I was pretty cautious through turn 2 majority of my stints, and I kept on the pace of everyone, if not one of the fastest cars through my stint. So I'm happy about that. I got a head around the car, and yeah, Matt just did an outstanding job. And I don't know, sitting in the com box and Matt in the car for that long stint, it just, I don't know, it was just stressing me out. I was shaking. It was just my hands are just through the roof. I've settled down a lot now, but yeah, that was just. I think I was crying when I seen you make that move on Spud. I don't know how you did it on those tyres. I did it to, I think, Rusty on in stint 2, but yeah, I don't know how you did it on Spud on those tyres. That was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure, to be honest. It was full respect to Spud as well. Like, he gave us the racing room, but I didn't think I'd be able to hang it around the outside 2 laps in a row on turn 3. But yeah, made it work. So just wicked. It was just awesome result for us all. It was really good and great result for Trackstar too. I think the whole day's run really flawless. So well done to everyone. I think it was a really good event.
Both from a commentary position and indeed as a moving chicane in the second stint of the race. I must say that this was great fun as well. As always, since I am these days at best making cameo appearances, I don't like to sign these off, so I will hand over to DJ for his closing thoughts and anything else he wants to discuss with Matt. But my congratulations to both of you. Fabulous driving, and everyone here in the High Speed Ring 500, I think, can hold their heads up high. A high standard of driving. I was the clumsiest man out there. Everyone else gave it large and did a great job, and beckons well for the rest of the Enduro season.
Yeah, we do.
Cheers, Adam.
Yeah, we do appreciate, obviously, you, Adam, with your busy schedule and stuff like that. But yeah, the whole whole week essentially is run really smoothly. You know, doing all the stuff in the background that It's Racing does, and Spud as well, yourself, Robbo, Chase too, with all the results and stuff like that, and even all the drivers just working with us and letting us try and do our thing, and we try to do it as best we can. But yeah, no, we definitely thank you for jumping in, Adam. But obviously when you can make any cameo appearances makes our life a lot easier, you know. But yeah, as always, we do thank everyone for watching the Trackstars Touring Cars High Speed Ring 500. From myself, It's Racing, and Spud, Adam, and also the race winner, and myself and Matt. Thank you everyone for joining, and we shall catch you in 2 weeks' time for the Bathurst 1000.